All right, everybody, welcome back. Ready to dive in. Today, we're tackling a giant, the evolution of jazz.
Ooh, ambitious. And you're right, it's not just about the music itself. It's a whole story of how America changed, told through sound.
Exactly. So no dry textbook stuff. We're tracing the sonic journey from Ragtime's very first piano keys all the way to fusion's wild ride. And trust me, even if you think you've got jazz all figured out, we've got some surprises up our sleeves.
I'm ready to be surprised.
So picture this. It's the late 1800s, New Orleans is buzzing, and this new sound is taking over.
Ragtime.
Ah, ragtime, the original rebel. Right, you've got that infectious syncopated rhythm. It's like your foot just can't help but tap along, defying expectations with every beat. But this wasn't just dancehall music. This was a sign of the times, a reflection of a society bursting with new energy, anxieties, hopes. It was America finding its voice, one ragtime piano at a time.
Absolutely. And don't underestimate that piano, right? This wasn't just polite background music for fancy parties. This was piano with personality. It was raw, it was gutsy, and it paved the way for everything that jazz would become. That spirit of improvisation, it all started there.
Couldn't have said it better myself. But hold on tight, because things are about to get even more interesting. Fast forward to the 1920s, the roaring 20s. Here comes swing.
Now we're talking.
And when we say swing, we mean the one and only Louis Armstrong, am I right? That man could make a trumpet sing, laugh, cry, you name it, he could make it happen, all in one breathtaking solo. Armstrong wasn't just playing music, he was the energy of the jazz age, pure and simple.
Oh, I completely agree. But let's not forget the other giant in the room, Duke Ellington. Talk about a visionary. Ellington wasn't just a band leader, he was a composer, an arranger, a musical architect. His orchestra, they weren't just playing instruments, they were creating these intricate sonic tapestries, each one as richly detailed and emotionally powerful as any novel.
Perfectly put. But as we all know, the world throws curveballs. War, uncertainty, and jazz. It shifted right alongside us. Suddenly, the smooth, danceable sounds of swing gave way to something faster, more complex, almost restless. Enter bebop.
Bebop, that was jazz with a point to prove. It's like it took all the energy and emotion that swing had and crammed it into twice the speed, threw in some extra notes for good measure.
It's true. And those guys, Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, they weren't just playing music. They were pushing the boundaries of what was possible. Talk about virtuosity.
It was almost like they were speaking a secret language, this incredibly fast, intricate musical code that only the hippest cats could decipher. It was jazz for a generation that had already seen too much, felt too much.
And just like that, for every action, there's a reaction, right? As the world caught its breath after the war, so did jazz. This time, things got cool. Literally. The 1950s brought us cool jazz.
Oh, cool jazz. Like jazz took a deep breath, found its center, and said, okay, let's explore this new space.
Right. It was introspective, spacious, and yeah, undeniably cool. You had Miles Davis with that iconic muted trumpet creating an atmosphere of quiet contemplation.
And then there was Dave Brubeck, a master of rhythm who wasn't afraid to break the mold. I mean, take 5 in 5/4 time, who does that?
Genius. And it wasn't just a musical shift, was it? Cool jazz captured the spirit of the times perfectly. The civil rights movement, a search for identity, a yearning for something more. It was the soundtrack for introspection and quiet rebellion. But hold on, folks, because things are about to get even more interesting. The 60s and 70s hit, and jazz. It decided to plug in. This is where things get really experimental with the birth of jazz fusion. We're talking about the raw energy of rock, the infectious grooves of funk, even a touch of electronica, all blending seamlessly with those classic jazz harmonies.
The first time I heard Herbie Hancock's Headhunters, my jaw hit the floor. It was funky, psychedelic, and undeniably jazz all at the same time. Fusion took some getting used to, but once it clicked, there was no turning back.
Absolutely. Bands like Weather Report were pushing the envelope, blending genres with such fearlessness, creating music as unpredictable and exciting as the times they were living in.
It was jazz for a new generation, a generation hungry for something bold, something that defied expectations.
And that's the thing about jazz, isn't it? It's a constant conversation, a constant evolution. From those first ragtime piano keys to the electrifying sounds of fusion, it's all connected. It's about pushing boundaries, exploring new sonic landscapes, all while staying true to that core spirit of improvisation, freedom, and raw, unfiltered expression.
That's the beauty of it. It's music that never sits still, always reflecting the world around it, and daring to imagine something new.
So here's a question for you to ponder, dear listener. What other genres out there have taken such a wild ride, transforming across decades while still holding on to that core identity? Think about it, and maybe, just maybe, you'll unlock a whole new level of appreciation for the music you thought you knew. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, folks. Until next time.